Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's Kryz again, and today I thought I would be taking you around the sky pod again with me. It's a rainy day today. Ta-da! Gloomy and rainy, and it's a bit late. It's already 4 p.m. We're starting the vlog late today because I just thought it would be fun to share with you guys my breast milk journey and how I kept my stash going. This is a request that you guys have been leaving comments about for so long now, and it's obviously something that I want to share. I wanted to film this earlier, but we got a little bit busy with Scotty, and now it's starting to rain, and I was debating if I should film it today or film it some other time, and I figured, what the heck, you guys will understand because it's hard to make time to vlog. Before we get started, I want to show you a little family I love. Slater is an expert at getting Scotty to sleep. So Scotty is right here, sleeping with his little friends watching over him. And I am going to show you now my milk supply, which is outside. So you guys will have a little bit of background before I sit down and really get to talk to you guys. All right, this is my chest freezer. I ordered it just so I could store my breast milk. If you open it up, these are all Ziploc blocks of breast milk. And we have over 200 bags. I think we have about 230 bags now, and Scotty's 2 months old. So everything is numbered with the dates, and then I got lazy to write the dates down, but the dates are in the individual packs here. These are 4-ounce bags and some 6-ounce bags mixed together. And I've kept a lot also down there. So this is my stash as of now, and I will tell you exactly how I store it, how I made the stash without using an electric pump, and all that jazz. So if you're excited, then keep on watching. All right guys, let's start at the very beginning. When I was in the hospital, I made sure that they let me do skin-to-skin contact with Scott, and I was so lucky that I was negative in my COVID test, and they allowed me to do that because I think that's really gonna help you produce breast milk. Having skin-to-skin contact with your son or your daughter, I've read, releases this oxytocin hormone in your body, which allows it to produce more breast milk, if I'm not mistaken. And when I was in the hospital, I tried my best to really let Scott latch on me. And immediately after I gave birth, he already tried to breastfeed, and we never gave him any bottled formula. He was purely breastfed. My sister-in-law did give me a little bit of her breast milk because she also just gave birth, so that if I'm extremely tired, then Scott can have a little bit of her breast milk and I wouldn't have to wake up, because they say that it's really important for you to, number one, not be stressed so that you can produce as much breast milk as possible, and also to sleep, have enough sleep, which is kind of like impossible because as a new mom, like how can you have enough sleep? You're always sleep deprived, but that's how you apparently increase your breast milk supply. I always made sure that when Scott needed me, even though he needed me like every hour or sometimes every 30 minutes for the first few weeks, that I would always offer the breast to him. Even though the first few weeks were so much torture, like it was so painful, my nipples were so sore. I was telling Slater, damn, this is the most difficult part of this entire process. Like from pregnancy to giving birth to the contractions, labor, and finally delivery, and then breastfeeding and having like really sore chapped nipples and having someone continuously suck on your nipples that are so painful. Like I told Slater, this is the worst part. Like this is so incredibly bad. Like masakit na masakit siya. And you know, I'm so happy that I stuck with it because now it's one of my favorite things to do. I love breastfeeding Scotty. He just breastfed and then he played with me for a little bit, and now he's sleeping, and now I can't wait to wake him up and breastfeed again because that's just how much I love it. I don't know, it's so rewarding. And when I was in my first 2 weeks and I was in so much pain, and a lot of moms would say, you know, hang in there, it's gonna be so rewarding when you finally get the hang of it. I didn't believe them because it really hurt so much. It hurt to the point that I couldn't even wear a shirt. I was walking around my house topless. I didn't care if anybody saw me. We live in a glass house, so I don't know. I just did not care, and I thought I would not be one of those people, but apparently if it hurt so bad, you just want comfort. And so my boobs were hanging out everywhere. I couldn't like shower because they hurt so much when water hit it. When air would hit it, it hurt. When fabric would hit it, it hurt. And then like finally it's starting to heal and feel better, and then Scott would want to latch again and it hurts so bad. Like, imagine that you have this really bad wound, and it's like, you know, if you have a sugat and then it's like really red and bloody, and then someone's like constantly poking it, or like 1,000 paper cuts on top of the sugat. That's how it felt like to me. Oh my god, it was so bad. But now it doesn't hurt at all. I feel so amazing whenever I breastfeed Scotty. It's such a great experience. And yeah, so if you're struggling, it's your first few weeks, hang in there. Sometimes it takes a month for your boobs to adjust. They will callus up and you will power through, and it's gonna be an amazing journey, and it's super duper worth it, I'm telling you. How do you increase your milk supply? I don't know if my milk supply is average or if it is on the above average side. I'm sure it's definitely not below average because I'm able to provide for Scott and have a little bit of extra breast milk, as you saw in the chest freezer a while ago. So I'm just gonna tell you my experience. I don't know for certain if any of these are the direct cause for my breast milk to go up, but I'm just gonna tell you exactly what I did. Number one, diet. I did not diet at all. In Chinese tradition, they give you all of these things to keep the heat or bring the heat back in your body, because they say when you give birth, you're releasing all that heat and you need to bring it back with the food that you eat. And that's why in some Chinese traditions, they don't allow you to shower 1 month after you give birth, which I did not do because of COVID, and it's kind of creepy not to like shower and you feel so gross in the hospital. So I did shower immediately. A lot of Chinese moms keep DMing me and asking me if I did that get lai. I did not do it. They also give you get lai food, which is like pigeon and like chocolate and Chinese liquor and all these other things. I did do like some get lai teas that were sent to me. I will put a link down below to where you can get those teas. And I had soup, like I had malunggay soup and lapu-lapu soup. I had it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the first 2 weeks, and I really feel like that helped a lot. I don't know for sure, but I feel like it helped a lot. I also like ate so much vegetables. Like for breakfast, I'd eat like a Tupperware of vegetables. For lunch, another Tupperware. For dinner, another Tupperware. Like, that's how much I ate. And the reason why I measure it in Tupperwares is because we didn't cook our own food. It was sent to me by my cousin. And I'm so thankful because we don't have a cook and I was too tired and busy taking care of Scott to cook for myself. So that's why it's measured in Tupperwares. But I think it was super duper helpful. I also had like cacao or tablea every single morning that was made by my mother-in-law, and I'm so thankful for that too. And I had a ton of water. Like I had this big water jug, and every breastfeeding session I would finish it. And at that time when I just gave birth, Scott would breastfeed like every 30 minutes to every hour. It was so crazy. Like he would cluster feed and I would finish that bottle like straight. Food wise, do not diet. I suggest you do not diet. They say when I read online that you only need 500 extra calories, and you shouldn't overeat when you're breastfeeding. So you should make those 500 calories like nutrient dense food and not like an extra plate of milk and cookies. But I was so deprived in my pregnancy. Like I really craved sweets so much, and I kept telling myself not to eat so much sweets because I didn't want Scott to get the diabetes and fail my glucose test and all that. And so I also indulged with milk and cookies like every single day, and I don't know, something sweet every single day, just to also keep me sane because I didn't have sleep. I was so tired, just for happiness. It made me happy, and I'm so happy that I did that as well. So I think I'm not losing weight as fast as I would have if I sort of ate better. But as you can see, I'm still chubby and my stomach's still big. You can see it in my Instagram stories, but I don't really mind because I really think that because of the way I ate, that's why I didn't have any problems with my milk supply. Number two, I consulted with a lactation consultant here in Cebu, and she told me like, Kryz, I was still pregnant. She said, Kryz, don't give me a preterm baby. Don't give me 36 weeks. Don't give me 37 weeks. Don't give me 38 weeks. Give me 39 weeks or 40 weeks. And that's gonna give you an easier time. And I think it's true because Scott, I gave birth to him at 39 weeks and he was already so big and chubby, and he knew exactly how to latch. Like there was no problem with latching at all. He was an expert. When he came out, alam na niya. He knows how to do it. And I think that also helped a lot because I didn't know what I was doing. He taught me. I didn't know anything. At first we had a hard time. He was able to latch on my left pretty easily, like with no problem. On my right, he had a harder time, and I think it's because of the different nipple size. Like, there's so many different nipples pala in the world, and I didn't know. Like, there's flat nipples, there are inverted nipples, there are like big nipples, small nipples, thin nipples, like so many nipples. I didn't know. I have different nipple shapes. I'm not gonna go into detail because it's TMI, and I know some guys are watching this and it's kind of weird. Basta, I have different nipple shapes, and so Scott preferred the left one, and I think that's why I'm lopsided and the left one is way bigger, because when we were in the hospital, he would only latch on my left. But I was advised to always keep trying to latch on the right, so number one, you wouldn't be lopsided. And so even though he wouldn't latch on my right boob, I bought myself these nipple shields, and they are supposed to protect your nipple when your nipples are super sore and painful, as I mentioned earlier. I tried that because Scott wouldn't catch the nipple on the right boob, and sometimes he did, sometimes he didn't, but I always persevered even though he was crying and he had a hard time. Like, I always tried my best to let him latch on the right boob, and now he can latch on it without the nipple shield perfectly, and he even prefers the right boob now. So if you are dealing with that also, just keep at it. Like, don't give up, even though it's hard, even though it takes you 2 weeks, even though it takes you 1 month, you will get there. So just don't give up, don't stress about it, just try. If it doesn't work, go to the left boob. You know, just try, and then if it doesn't work, adjust. Just don't give up. Okay, now a lot of you guys are curious because I always say that I did not use an electric pump, but yet I was able to get quite a number of bags stashed for Scott, milk bags stashed for him. And the reason is because I use the Haakaa Pump, and if you guys follow me on Instagram, then you will know, because I always post about my breastfeeding journey on my Instagram. So you can follow me at Kryz, that's Kryzzzie, 3 Z's, and you will see that I use my Haakaa Pump. A Haakaa Pump is kind of like a silicone pump that you just flip over, squeeze, and put it on your boob, close the flap, and it will suction the milk out of your boob. So it's still technically a pump because there's a suction that's pulling the milk out, but it's not an electric pump. You know those machines that are attached to a socket or an outlet or a battery, and then it goes and then it like kind of makes you feel like a cow because it's pulling the milk out of your boob. I'm so sorry if the thunder and the rain is bothering you. I hope it's not. But yeah, let's keep going. I did not use an electric pump because they advise that for the first 6 weeks, you don't use an electric pump, just so that your body can regulate the milk supply that your baby needs. And so I didn't use one, and when I did use one, because I really had to, like for instance, my right boob was not getting any action because Scotty would not latch on it. I tried to pump just the right boob, and I hated it because I'd always have to be hunched over, and then there would be some kind of like it always spill, or like the battery would run out, or like other weird things. Like I have to wash so many different things. Like it was not a pleasant experience for me. I'd rather direct latch the baby. That way when somebody's sucking on your boob, even though it hurts so much in the beginning, like at least you're staring at your baby, right? And it's cute, and you know, you love him and you're spending time with him and you're bonding with him. I feel like this is just my experience, because some other moms love to pump. So kanya-kanya lang yan. It's fine. It's just, for me, if I pump, I'm spending all that time pumping. I hate the experience. It spills all over. It gets me dirty. I have to wash all these bottles. And then I have to spend an extra time feeding that pumped out milk to Scott. Whereas if I just direct feed him, put him on my boob, done. Like that's it. I don't wash anything. I'm spending the same time that he's latching on me as I would have pumping. That's just my 2 cents why I don't like pumping. The Haakaa Pump, on the other hand, is cool because, for instance, Scott is latching on my left boob. I would Haakaa the right boob at the same time, and the letdown from my right boob, the milk that comes out of my right boob while I'm feeding Scott on the left, that is the milk that I will store. And I've been doing that since the beginning. So Scott would feed on the left, I'd Haakaa the right. Scott would feed on the right, I'd Haakaa on the left. And that is how I got all these 200 plus bags. It's so amazing. At first, my left boob was leaking like crazy. Like every time I tried to latch Scott and he'd be successful, then the left boob would leak like crazy. Or the random times when I would try to pump out milk from my right boob and leave my left boob with nothing going on, it would leak. So that's when I used the Haakaa as a catcher, and then I did some more research, and that's when I realized that it can actually pump out milk from your boob, and now it's game changing. I have so many Haakaas. I also have the Nature Bond, which is kind of like a different brand of Haakaa, just so that every time I feed, there's always one hand on hand, and I don't have to sterilize the same thing over and over and over again, because in a day, the baby feeds a lot of times, right? So that's my like stash. Like I love it so much. Anyway, at the beginning, I would only Haakaa my left boob because that is the boob that had so much letdown, and that is the boob that would always leak. And when I would Haakaa my right boob, nothing would come out. So I'm like, I don't need to Haakaa it anymore. I can just like do side lying position with Scott and then leave this boob to rest. But I talked to somebody from Haakaa Philippines, and she said, no, just keep Haakaaing, Haakaa. Like even if nothing comes out, you have to train your boob to let the milk come out. Because it's like if you Haakaa one boob and Scott is feeding on the other, your boobs are thinking that there are two babies that you need to feed from both boobs. So it will produce more milk. So every time you're latching on one and Haakaaing on the other, it's like there are two babies sucking in your boobs, and then you're gonna produce more milk, something like that. And so even when there was no milk coming out of my right boob for the first few weeks, I just kept at it and I just kept doing Haakaa, and eventually I was able to collect like 0.5 ounce, and then 1 ounce, and then 2 ounce, and now I can collect 3 ounce on this lacquer boob, which is so amazing. So guys, just keep at it. And on my right boob, like in the beginning, I remember like the first 2 days, it was just colostrum, like super little. I would hand express it because it was so engorged, and I just, you know, kept at it, didn't stress myself out, just kept going like over and over and over, didn't read too much about it, just really just did it, you know, and was not over my head. And I'm so lucky that Scott was able to latch properly and didn't have any problems with feeding, and it didn't stress me out at all. And from the beginning that I only get little from my right boob, now easily from one Haakaa I can get 5 ounces, and he's still 2 months old, which is so amazing. 5 ounces out of one boob without even like using an electric pump. To me, that's cool. If you are a Haakaa user as well and you don't collect that much, I've learned a few tricks and tips and tricks from my usage of it. So if you're doing side lying and you Haakaa your other boob, it's not gonna collect as much as when you're sitting down. I think gravity has something to do with it, and because the suction kind of releases when you're side lying, so that's something you have to consider. Second is, if the suction releases, like resuction it to your boob, and then you'll see that letdown spurting out. It's so cool, you know. To those of you watching this, I don't know why you would be watching this if you are not a breastfeeding mama, but if you are, wow, amazing pala yung boobs natin. Because I thought, like, if this is your nipple, I thought the breast milk would come out like that lang, just one single like spurt. But apparently, after observing my nipple, it's like there's so many little holes where the breast milk comes out of. It's so amazing. So that's my whole deal with the Haakaa. Okay, now I want to talk to you guys about not stressing out about breast milk, because it's actually going to hinder your production. Not thinking that, oh my gosh, I don't have milk supply, I can't feed my baby. Not always being in your head, because that's really going to affect your milk supply. If there are people around you that always say, oh, the baby's crying, probably not enough milk. Oh, you know, like making all these small side comments about your milk, get them out of your space, because you don't need that negative energy. You're already dealing with so much, you're already sleep deprived, and you're doing your best for your baby. And to have like side comments like that just enter your brain, and you know, you're so sensitive after you give birth, like you just don't need it. So always tell yourself that yes, you have milk, you really have milk. Like read all these positive things on Instagram, there's so many, and that really helped me like put myself in a good mindset. I'm also so lucky because we have a night nurse, and ever since we had her help us, my milk supply has only been going up, because I could sleep longer at night, because she takes care of Scott when he needs to be burped, when he needs to be changed his diaper, and you know, when he won't sleep, she puts him back to sleep, and all I do at night is feed him. So I feed him every 2 to 3 hours, and now it's even going to 3 to 4 hours, so I have more sleep. One night I got Scott and he slept with us again, and he wouldn't sleep the whole night, and the next day my milk supply dropped drastically. So if there is somebody who can help you at night, I highly recommend that you call on them to help you, because it's really gonna improve your milk supply if you get enough rest. I can't stress that enough. Second, there was a time when Scott was having his growth spurts, or when he's having like mental leaps, and it would stress me out so much because I wouldn't understand why he was crying. He'd always take the boob, but every time I take him out of the boob, he would cry, and just all these little things that I kept researching about. And obviously there's so much literature about babies, and everything's contradicting when you read online, like it's this, and everything's like too much, and if it stresses you out, that's also gonna affect your milk supply. So I have learned that it's always better to just relax, take it a day at a time, do what you can, try your best. Just keep trying, whatever you want to happen, just keep trying. If it doesn't work, then move on and adjust. That's it. And so far, it's really been helping me. Okay, this rain is getting pretty intense. I really hope and pray that you guys don't mind, or if it's not, I hope it's not too loud right now. But the last thing I'm going to be talking about is how to store your breast milk. So what I do is, for instance, I will pump from my Haakaa on my left boob 5 ounces at 7 in the morning. And then at 9 in the morning, Scott feeds and I will pump like 1 ounce from this boob because it's the slacker boob. I will then combine those two, put it in a 6 ounce breast milk storage bag, and I will label it like bag number 1, the date today and the time, and I use the time of the earlier feeding. So I'll combine from the 7 a.m. feeding and the 9 a.m. feeding, I'll combine it in one bag, and I will use the time of the first feeding. So I'll put 7 in the morning. And that is my first bag. And I will release all the air out of the breast milk bag, and I will store it in the freezer like nakahiga, flat, so that it's easier to stack once it's frozen. And this is a tip that I learned from you guys when I posted about it on Instagram, so thank you so much for leaving me that tip. It's been so helpful. And then when I get about 10 to 12 of those little breast milk bags, I will get a big Ziploc bag, and then I will put it laying down like one on top of the other, and I will seal it. I will write the number, and that is 1 breast milk block. And then it's just easier because it's all in cubes to store in your chest freezer or whatever freezer that you like. That's how I do it. And it's been super easy so far because everything's numbered, everything's organized, and it's easy to just pull things around because it's all in the same size Ziploc bag. Alright guys, I've been blabbering for so long. I don't know if you found that helpful or if you found me to be too blabby. I feel like I'm too blabby. I'm so tired from talking. I'm gonna go outside and chill with the Hubs and chill with Scott. I hope that you found this video useful. If you did, then please leave me a thumbs up. Comment down below if you have any more questions. I will try my best to answer them. And with that being said, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye! Mwah.